Welcome to Salient Training Job Aid videos. This job aid will provide you with the training, software links, and demonstrate the process to update recording servers from CompleteView version 4 or earlier to CompleteView version 6.1. This job aid is all-inclusive to prevent possible update failure due to firewall exceptions, missing software, or licensed feature keys. When Salient Systems introduced CompleteView version 5, SQL Server became part of CompleteView. If you're unfamiliar with the SQL Server installation process, a SQL Server install job aid video is on Salient Training's website. If you're unfamiliar with CompleteView 4, you'll learn how to log in, find the version 4 product ID, and add the necessary feature keys to CompleteView 4. These 4 definitions will help clarify the coming slide abbreviations, text, and audio. CompleteView version 4 mentioned in the audio or in the text is meant to include all versions of CompleteView that precede version 4.8. CV is the abbreviation for CompleteView, the name of Salient Systems Video Management System software. The letter V and the period that follows is the abbreviation for version and is followed by the CompleteView version number. Feature key is an alphanumeric code that enables a specific CompleteView software feature or function. RS is the abbreviation for recording server. This long but all-inclusive checklist is meant to assist the least experienced or unfamiliar technician with this CompleteView update. Many steps are specific to this update process, but feature key procurement, firewall exceptions, and software downloads could be a part of any update process. SQL Server became a part of CompleteView when CompleteView 5 was first introduced. Using the video controls, pause this video to copy the link above or photograph it with your phone. CompleteView's management server employs a SQL database for configuration data management. If you are unfamiliar with the SQL Server installation process for CompleteView, and while SQL Server software is downloaded and saved for later use, consider going to the Salient Systems knowledge base and watching the SQL Server install job aid video. The video shows all the steps to install the SQL Server for CompleteView. Job aid videos can be found at salientsys.com by selecting support from the top right side of the home page and then selecting training. And then selecting the desired job aid video. Going through this process, keep in mind that the CompleteView management server cannot be installed successfully until SQL Server is installed as shown in the SQL job aid video and is accessible to the management server via the network or when sharing a server chassis with a recording server. In preparation for the update, you must download and install CompleteView 6.1.3 Management Server and Desktop Client. The updated version 4 recording server will become the new 6.1.3 recording server, so it's unnecessary to download the recording server software now. Software downloads can be found at salientsys.com by selecting support from the top right side of the home page and then selecting software downloads. On the Downloads page, select the desired software version on the left, and then select the desired software or documents on the right. The following demonstration shows how to install the CompleteView Management Server software. Locate the CompleteView software download and use the right mouse button to click on the Management Server software. On the resulting Windows menu, select Run as Administrator. The first screen open is always the language selection screen. CompleteView supports 6 languages. English is the default language. You may click on the arrow to select a different language. In this demonstration, English is the language of choice. Please select Next. Currently, the End User License Agreement screen always appears after the language screen. The Anonymous Data checkbox is optional, and if checked, and if the servers are connected to the internet, the CompleteView Management Server and other components of the CompleteView system will forward anonymous data to Salient Systems Engineering, but system location and personal information are not sent. Select Accept. The third screen displays the default location, which can be changed by pressing the button with the dots and selecting a new location. Select Install. The management server is searching for a SQL Server instance. If a SQL Server is not installed or cannot be found on the network, the management server installation will fail. The second line from the top shows that a SQL Server was found on the local server chassis. Testing the SQL Server connection is a best practice. The desired result is a successful connection. The connection to the SQL Server appears to be successful. If the connection were to fail, try manually entering the SQL Server's IP address or fully qualified domain name instead of localhost and recheck the connection. Leave the Trusted Connection checkbox checked and select Install. A new SQL user password should be entered in the line provided. Write down, save, and share the password with other administrators of this particular CompleteView system. The password entered here differs from the SQL admin password entered when installing the SQL Server software. After the password is entered, select Install. If the password is entered correctly, Finish will appear. If a password does not follow the guidelines below the password line, the software installation will fail and must be restarted from the beginning until a correct password is entered. Selecting Finish completes the install. Locate the CompleteView software download and use the right mouse button to click on the desktop client software. On the resulting Windows menu, select Run as administrator. You may click on the arrow to select a different language. In this demonstration, English is the language of choice. Currently, the End User License Agreement screen always appears after the language screen. Select Accept. To install the desktop client, in the default location, select Next. This desktop client will not be used as a video wall desktop client, so leave the box unchecked and select Next. Select Finish to complete the installation. The version 4 recording server must be updated to CompleteView version 4.8.2 to enable the server to be added to and updated from the version 6.1 desktop client. This is your opportunity to download CompleteView version 4.8.2. Software downloads can be found at salientsys.com by selecting Support from the right side of the home page and then selecting Software Downloads. Version 4 software is found with the mature software and selected on the left, and then selecting version 4.x. Now look to the left for the CV 4.8.2 software updates and download the CV 4.8.2 64-bit executable file. CompleteView's version 6.1.3 bin or binary file will be used a bit later to update the version 4.8.2 recording server. It's a must-have to complete the update process. This is an excellent time to do the final download and save the CompleteView version 6.1.3 binary file. It will be used a bit later to update the 4.8.2 recording server. Select Software Downloads. From the download page, select version 6.1.3. Then select and download the CV 6.1.3 recording server bin file. It's time now to determine license feature key requirements for the version 4 recording servers that are scheduled for updating. All version 4 recording servers planned for updating should be surveyed for their feature key requirements. The 6.1 desktop client requires each recording server scheduled for updating to have a version 6.1 and 4.8 feature key. Survey the product ID panel on each recording server scheduled for updating and identify and send a request for all required feature keys to licensing@salientsys.com. Feature keys must be added to the recording server before commencing the update at the desktop client, because the push update process checks the recording server's license for software version feature keys before the update begins. The following brief video will demonstrate the CompleteView version 4 login process and show the location of the version 4 product ID panel and feature keys. CompleteView version 4 and earlier required the administrator to log in through the system configuration. Place your mouse pointer on the system configuration icon and click your right mouse button. From the menu, select Run as Administrator. To open the recording server configuration, select Configure Servers. Type the recording server's IP address or fully qualified domain name into the address line. Enter the administrator's username and enter the administrator password. And then select OK. The status screen appears for a brief period if the login is successful. When the default password information appears, take note of the message and then select OK. This is the version 4 recording server configuration. The configuration can have one or more recording servers listed on the left navigation pane and several configuration tabs on the right. Recording servers are identified by their IP address or domain name and must be selected first to reveal the server's feature keys. The General tab on the right should be on top after login. At the bottom left of the General tab, locate and press the Feature Key button to display the product ID and feature keys. Survey the feature key list when the product ID panel opens. If the 4.8 feature key is absent, add it to the 6.1 feature key email request to Salient Systems. This recording server has a 4.8 feature key. The 6.1 feature key is the only feature key required for the update. The version 4 recording server logic is programmed to add a CompleteView 6.1 feature key as an unknown feature. There doesn't appear to be any unknown feature keys in this recording server. The server's product ID is located top center of the product ID panel. Each unique product ID identifies a specific recording server, and a copy of the product ID must accompany feature key request to Salient Systems Licensing. To copy this server's product ID, scroll your mouse over the product ID. Right-click and select Copy from the menu. Email the product IDs and feature key descriptions to licensing@salientsys.com. The license desk does its best to reply to all requests within 2 hours of receiving the request and will reply on the next business day to requests that are received after hours, on weekends, or during holidays. Adding feature keys to a version 4 or earlier recording server is easily done with a few steps. Let's start by opening CompleteView version 4 system configuration as needed, log in as the admin, and locate and open the product ID panel. Each feature key must be added to the recording server's product ID panel for which it was created. So when receiving feature keys from the Salient licensing desk, match the product ID to its server, and then match and copy the feature key that goes with the recording server's product ID and paste it to the server's product ID panel. From the email received from Salient Licensing, match the product ID and feature key to the correct recording server, copy the 6.1 feature key, and if required, the 4.8 feature key from the email. Then select the product ID panel's Add button. Paste the feature key that correlates to the recording server's product ID into the top line of the product ID panel. CompleteView 4 no longer requires a validation code. Select OK to save the feature key to the recording server. Because the 6.1 feature key is for an upstream product, version 4 and earlier server logic is programmed to add a CompleteView 6.1 feature key as an unknown feature. The version 4.8.2 update will enable multinational and interstate businesses to remotely and simultaneously push out the 6.1 recording server updates across their internet to their other version 4.8.2 recording servers. Be sure you've added the 4.8 and 6.1 feature keys before beginning this update. Reading the red text and steps will increase your understanding of the following short upgrade video. To start the update, place your mouse on the update file and press your right mouse button. From the menu, select Run as Administrator. When the welcome screen appears, select Next. You're encouraged to complete Microsoft updates before beginning a software update. Select Next. The 4.8.2 update has completed successfully. Select Next. Press Finish to exit the update installer. The next step is to set desktop client and recording server firewall exceptions so they can communicate across the TCP/IP network. Inbound TCP firewall port exceptions are required for CompleteView management and recording servers to communicate over a TCP/IP network. When Transport Layer Security, or TLS, is not employed on the management and recording servers, TCP ports 4242, 4255, and 8095 should be configured with inbound port exceptions for the customer's network. The exception should be applied to client workstations and CompleteView servers. Alternatively, if Transport Layer Security is enabled on servers with valid PIM certificates, in place of port 8095 and 4242, set inbound firewall port exceptions for port 4245 and 8096 for the customer networks on client workstations and CompleteView servers. While not entirely applicable to this update process, it should be noted that inbound firewall exceptions for ports 6970 to 7226 will enable certain network camera brands to stream video via User Datagram Protocol, also known as UDP, and should be set on customer networks and recording servers to enable video recording and live video viewing. Select and open the Windows search box and type Firewall in the box. From the Windows menu, select Advanced Firewall Security. To set inbound port rule exceptions, select Inbound Rules. Select the New Rules option from the top right panel. To create a port exception, select Port, and then select Next. Type the port numbers needed in the specific local box and separate individual port numbers with a comma. The exception rule should apply to TCP. Double-check your numbers and select Next. For the port exception to work, allow the connection, then select Next. Domain, private, and public networks are enabled by default, and port exceptions are applied to enabled networks. Uncheck the network type not associated with CompleteView. Name and give a description to the port exception, and then select Finish. API access is highly recommended, but not required to connect the version 4 server to the version 6.1 desktop client. API access should be assigned to the version 4 server admin employed to connect the version 4 server to the version 6.1 desktop client. The version 4 API enabled server will stream live video to the version 6.1 desktop client. Viewing live video is an excellent way to verify the version 4 recording server's operational integrity before updating to version 6.1. CompleteView version 4 and earlier required the administrator to log in through the system configuration. Place your mouse pointer on the system configuration icon and click your right mouse button. From the menu, select Run as Administrator. To open the recording server configuration, select Configure Servers. Type the recording server's IP address or fully qualified domain name into the address line. Enter the administrator's username and enter the administrator password. And then select OK. The status screen appears for a brief period if the login is successful. When the default password information appears, take note of the message and then select OK. Select Users and Groups. Next, select the admin user. Select the Advanced tab on the right where the API access is enabled. Checking both boxes will enable API access. Next, saving the configuration will complete the API enablement. Select OK. In place of localhost, enter the IP address of the management server or the fully qualified domain name, followed by a colon and port number 8095. Next, enter the admin password. Select Login. When the home screen appears, select Configure. Place your mouse on the recording server overview panel and right-click. Select Add Server from the menu. Select Host. Enter the IP address or fully qualified domain name into the host line for the 4.8.2 recording server. Enter the administrator username for the 4.8.2 recording server. Enter the administrator's password and then select Connect. And save the configuration. The 4.8.2 recording server has been successfully added to the desktop client. Please take note that no configuration tree exists for the version 4 server, and that the network camera started because API access was given to the administrator. Open the menu. From the menu, select Maintenance. select the recording server that's to be updated. Check the select box for each server that needs to be updated. Next, agree to install all required certificates, and then select Update. When Windows Explorer opens, select the CompleteView Recording Server version 6.1.3 binary update software file you downloaded earlier. The binary file is copied to each recording server in 10% increments. The update begins when 100% of the update is received at the recording server. The update can be sent to groups of servers displayed in the update server list. Each server will update independently, and completion time varies. The messages will tell you when the server update is complete. After the update's complete, return to Configure to check camera operation and viability of the server. The update process is a complete success. Many of the steps, such as software downloads, can be done once, and following this checklist will go a long way to ensure a successful update for the newest and unfamiliar technician. From version 6, you can update to CompleteView 7 and beyond. Salient Training wishes you great success as you update CompleteView for your customers. If you found this video helpful, be sure to follow Salient Systems for more job aid and tech tip videos. If you have a suggestion for a future video, let us know by sending an email to training@salientsys.com. From everyone at Salient Training, thanks for watching.